Alright, so the first app we're going to be setting up today is Azahar. I have the video split up into chapters so you guys can skip to whichever emulator you want to see being set up. So first we're going to head to the settings. So you click on these three dots here at the top left, and we're going to go into our emulator settings. Here in the general, keep everything pretty much as is. In system, make sure you check the new 3DS mode. This is basically going to have your device act as a new 3DS, so you're going to get some better performances, some quicker loading times, and you'll be able to use the right stick as the C stick. When you scroll down in system, you'll get to the birthday settings. You can set that for games like Animal Crossing and stuff like that, where different events happen on your birthday specifically, as well as the device clock, so you can have updated clock in the game as well. Exiting out of system, we're going to skip the camera. There's not a camera on this device. We're going to go to gamepad, and here you have to map your controls. So you're going to go through, click on every button, and bind it to your specific button. Once you get down to the circle pad, this is super easy. You just have to bind a specific axis. So for the up and down axis of the circle pad, you just click that and you push your stick up or down, and it's going to map that nice and easy. You do the same thing for left and right, and then you do the same thing for the right stick or your C stick, and also the same thing for the D-pad. If you're having any issues here, you can scroll down and do a manual D-pad setup right here, but I've left it blank as it worked perfectly for me. And then of course your triggers here, and then you get to your hotkeys. And so here I have the quick save and quick load set to the left stick and the right stick, so I can just very quickly make a save state and also go back to my previous save state. You can also set the clicks to something like to close the game or to swap screens, basically just swapping the top screen with the bottom screen, things like that. Exiting out of gamepad, we're going to go into graphics. For the graphics API, make sure you guys select Vulkan here. I have these toggled on, basically going to help reduce some stuttering and some better performance for your games. And then the internal resolution, we're going to set that to 4x native. This is a 1080p screen, so we can't really go much higher than that and actually see the benefit. Here's all the settings I have set here. Disable right eye render, you guys can turn that on. It will improve the performance in some games, but in other games you're going to see like kind of weird flickering and just other graphical effects there. So I have it turned off. You're not going to need it for most games, but you can go for that if you want the absolute best performance. And that's pretty much it for graphics. We're going to get out of here and we're going to head to layout. Now here where it says landscape screen layout, click on that and you're going to go with single screen. That's basically going to make it so this top screen is going to be the top screen of the 3DS emulator. And then you're going to scroll down to secondary display screen layout and you're going to change that to bottom screen so that we can get that bottom screen down here on our secondary display. That's pretty much all we have to do here in the layout section. And audio, debug, I've just kind of left those options default. So when you back out, it should say save settings. Now we're going to scroll down to select user folder. And basically what you're going to do is navigate to the root of your device. And you're going to scroll down to where it says user and use this folder. And then here, select applications folder. That's basically asking where are your ROMs located. So click on that once again, and you're just going to navigate to where that is. For me, that's in the root folder, ROMs, 3DS, use this folder, and then you're all good. Once you've done all of that, you're going to scroll down here and you're going to refresh your ROMs, and you should be all good to start them up. Next up, we're going to set up MelonDS. Now I'm using MelonDS nightly, but it should be pretty similar if you're using the regular MelonDS application. So first, we're going to head to these three dots and go to settings. There isn't much in general. You can basically just mess with the fast forward and rewind. So the first thing we're going to go into is ROMs, and you're going to set the directory for your DS games. So we're just going to go here, we're going to navigate to our ROMs folder, DS, and use folder. For the save files, I just have it set to save it next to the ROM file, but you guys can set a specific directory if you want to do that. For system, I pretty much left everything as is. Now when you go into video, for the renderer, OpenGL is our only option here, so we're just going to kind of keep it like that. And for the internal resolution, we're going to go with the 8x native. Now for the internal screen layout, the internal screen is this top screen, so we're obviously just going to set that to be our top DS screen. So you click on internal screen layout, and we're going to create a new layout here. And we don't want this bottom screen, right? That's going to be on our secondary screen down here. So we're going to click on it and click delete. That gets rid of that. And then for the screen right here, I usually try and put it just right there, kind of towards the bottom, so that way both the screens can be close together. So I have that set up there. And then once you're happy with your layout, you're going to click back and save and exit. And then you're going to select the new layout that you just created, back out of layouts, And for the external display screen, we're just going to set that to be the bottom screen. And that's pretty much it for our video settings. So we're going to back out and head to input, key mapping, and here you're going to map all of your keys. And you can also set a fast forward button to something like the right trigger, for example, because it's not used in DS emulation. So you can set that to right trigger or whatever that you want to do. And then you can also set a button to quick save, quick load, just like we did on the Azahar emulator. That's pretty much it for key mapping, and everything else we can kind of just leave like default. So as you can see, once you boot up a game, the bottom screen takes up the entire bottom screen, which looks fine on this device, but for those of you that have played a lot of DS, you'll notice that this bottom screen is actually stretched a little bit this way. If you want to go back to the original DS aspect ratio, click on the back button, quick settings, keep DS aspect ratio, and then that's gonna shrink that bottom screen just a little bit, and you have a more accurate DS layout. Alright, next up we're going to be setting up Eden. Should have the easiest setup so far. I'm using Eden optimized, but if you're using the regular Eden version, should be pretty similar. So we're going to click on the settings here and go to advanced settings. Click on system, and here you can change to docked mode. Basically, it's going to decrease the performance, but obviously increase visuals. For certain games, if it's stuttering and you're struggling to run it, go ahead and turn that setting off. But most games you should be fine there. We're going to back out of system, head to graphics. For the accuracy level, that's up to you guys. I would probably recommend staying on performance. And then for resolution, we're going to keep it 1x. Once again, if you are struggling to run some games, go down to 0.75. And here are some of the settings that I have toggled on. I'm going to back out of graphics. And then your performance overlay, I usually turn that off. But when you are first trying to run some games and make sure that they're running at a decent FPS, go ahead and keep that ticked on. But once you have your games kind of running and everything's going smooth, you can turn that off. And then for input overlay, I have enabled overlay auto hide. Basically, whenever the app opens up, it's going to make sure to hide those on-screen controls. And then everything else I kind of just left default. So we're going to back out of advanced settings, head to controls. And here you have all the different players, so you can set up different players with different Bluetooth controllers and things like that. But we're going to head to player 1. You can use auto map a controller, and you're just going to click on your controller that you have connected, and it's going to auto map all of the controls. Super easy. And whenever you switch a controller, you'll have to go into auto map and do it again. What I did was I have different profiles set up for different controllers. So I have one for my 8-bit Dell controller, so that when I am playing with a Bluetooth controller, I can just do that and automatically get the controls there. So you guys can set up different profiles if you want. And in order to set up a profile, you just click on that, click create new profile, you'll give it a name, and then you'll set the controls here by auto mapping it to a specific controller, and then you'll be all good to go. Now, backing out of controls, we're going to go down to manage Eden data, and what's really important here is the firmware and prod keys. So I cannot provide these keys for you, but using Google you can find the latest firmware, latest switch firmware, as well as prod keys. So you'll download these files straight to your Thor, and then you'll click on the little download icon here and basically point to where that file is located. So backing out of here, we're going to head to manage game folders, and basically what you're going to do is create a path, clicking this plus icon, and create a path to your Switch games. Once you do that, it should pop up right here, and you'll see, as you can see, ROMs switch straight to my Switch folder. Now for the GPU driver manager, new drivers are coming out all the time, but in order to upgrade your driver, you're going to go to this menu, click on fetch, and it's going to search for the latest drivers. So as you can see, it's recommended that Mr. Purple T22 driver, so you're just going to click on that, and you're going to find the latest driver here. Scroll down to show downloads, and you're going to download it right there, and it's successfully installed. So when you back out, you'll see that new option there, and you can just click on it and install it just like that. Alright, and that's pretty much all we need to do in the Eden settings. So once you back out, it should automatically refresh, and you'll be able to boot up a game from here. Next up, we're going to be setting up Cemu, which is a Wii U emulator. So once again, we're going to click on these three dots. We're going to go to settings, general, and we're going to add a path to our Wii U folder. So you click on it, click on the plus button here, navigate to our ROMs folder, use this folder, and you're all good. Back out of general, we're going to go into input settings. When you go into input overlay settings, make sure this is checked off because we don't want the on-screen controls. And we're going to controller 1, which is the Wii U gamepad, and we're going to set up all the inputs for our Odin controller, which is the attached controller right here. And it does that automatically. Everything's already set up. I'm going to leave the graphic settings pretty much as is. Now, in order to run your games and to actually get them to show up in this menu, we're going to need a keys file. Now I can't provide you guys with this file, but literally just search for it on Google, click on this Reddit link, and you'll be able to find what you need. Now once you download your file, you're going to actually rename it keys, and then you're going to put it in this Cemu folder right here. And you're going to replace the keys.txt file that's currently in there. So when we head back to Cemu, you should be able to refresh it and your games should pop up. Give it a second. It takes a while for these things to go through. And then we'll be able to start our game. Now, it's going to show up just in the top screen. In order to get the bottom screen to actually show our gamepad, we're going to click on the settings button here at the top left. And you're going to click on show pad as well as external pad screen. And then you should be all good. For games with motion controls, go ahead and enable motion as well. Now, the bottom screen is 16:9, meaning that it's just going to look really small on this screen. But as you can see, we have both of our screens working here for Wii U emulation. For all the emulators that I did not discuss in this video, I would recommend using RetroArch to run those games. RetroArch definitely deserves its own video, so if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments. And also, let me know if you guys have any questions about any of the setups that we did today. And it's going to be pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. It's easy. And we'll see you guys next time.